Good afternoon everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the grid and cloud computing subject Unit 5. So Unit 5 name is security. So in this we having different contents. So now in the first video I am discussing some contents which is available in the security, that is trust models for grid security environment, authentication and authorization methods, grid security infrastructure, cloud infrastructure security, network levels. So these are the different contents available in the security. We have some more contents also we will discuss in the next video class. In this video class we will discuss these contents. Okay, so coming to the first video, that is trust models for grid security environment. So the main potential security issues. What are the main security issues occurred in this trust model in the security? Grid security environment is whatever the grid. Grid is a combination of or a group of computers. Okay, so in this we having some security problems. So that issues. So we have some security issues that occur in the grid environment. Those issues are called network sniffers, out of control access, faulty operations, malicious operations, integration of local security mechanisms, delegation, dynamic resources and services, attack provenance and so on. These are the different security issues occurred in the grid environment. Okay, so in this we having some computational grids that are motivated by the desire to share the processing resource, among many organizations to solve a large scale problems. So in order to solve the large scale problems, we use the computational grids. So in the first unit we have discussed this point. So the same point we are discussing here. So we are using some computational grids in order to solve the large scale problems. Okay, so in our organization, share processing resource among many organizations. So we have to solve the large scale problems by using the computational grids. Okay, so grid sites may exhibit unexpected security conditions and safe system vulnerabilities. Okay, so unexpected security conditions will be occurred in the grid sites may exhibit unacceptable security conditions and system vulnerability. So user job demands the resource site. So user job demands for the resource site to provide a security assurance by issuing a security demand SD and trust index TI. So whenever we are providing the user job, whenever the user have job, that user will be demands for the resource site to provide the security assurance by issuing a security demand. So every user will be demands for the security demands and trustworthy means trust index. Okay, so these two parameters must be satisfy the security and assurance condition. So whenever the user want have any trustee, if the user want to trust, we have to provide the security. So most of the people using cloud, because why? So it provides the security assurance and conditions to the user. So that is why all the users are interesting to share the data or any other information they can gain from the cloud. So due to the security insurance, it will be provide the authentication and authorization. So okay, now these two parameters, so the condition, whatever the rules that will be provided, that should be satisfied by the user. So the two parameters should be satisfied by the user. Then only if he satisfy the of the security conditions, so trust index greater than equal to security demands during the job mapping process. Okay, so if you map the two demands, so the trust index is greater than, so trust index is main thing than the security demand. So during the job mapping resource. Okay, so these in this we having some 3 challenges are outlined below to establish the trust among the grid sites. In order to establish the trust among the grid sites, we are providing some challenges, that is outline challenges, that is called integration with existing system and technologies. So the resource sites in a grid are usually heterogeneous and autonomous. Okay, autonomous. So this is one challenge, and another is interoperability with different hosting environments. Services are often invoked across multiple domains and need to be able to interact with one another. So this is the second challenge, outline challenge, and third one is the grid aims to construct a large scale network computing system. So what is the grid aim? He need to construct a large scale network computing system by integrating distributed, heterogeneous and autonomous resources. The security challenges faced by the grid are much greater than other computing systems. So compared to the other computing systems, grid is faced many security challenges. Okay, so this is the three important challenges we have that provided by the grid. Okay, grid site. So next coming to, this is the diagram. So this is the generalized trust model diagram. So in this diagram, so at this bottom we identify three major at the bottom we having three major factors which influence the trustworthy bottom we having trustworthiness of resources side, and interface module and interface module, and interface module is required to aggregate. So interface mod, here we are having the interface module that need to aggregate required to aggregate these factors following some existing inference or aggregation methods. So okay, so in this we having some explanation about this diagram. So defense capability, here we having the defense capacity. So this defense capacity is decided by the firewall. This defense capacity is decided by the firewall. So we are having here firewall. This defense capacity will decide by the defense capacity is defined by the firewall. And instruction detection system, IDS, instruction detection instruction detection, instruction response capabilities, and antivirus capacity of the individual resource site or the individual resource sites. So this firewall is this defense capacity will be decided on the firewall, and this defense capacity depends on the firewall, instruction detection, instruction response capabilities, antivirus capacities okay, of the individual resource site. Okay, and next is a direct reputation. This direct reputation is decided based on the job success rate, site utilization, job turnaround time, job slowdown ratio. Okay, these are measured. Then we decide the direct reputation. Next we are having the recommended trust. So recommendation trust. So this recommendation trust is known as secondary trust. This recommended trust is known as secondary trust and obtained indirectly over the grid network. This is obtained indirectly over the grid network. Okay, this is the working of this generalized trust model. Okay, next we having the reputation based trust model. So we are going to explain now that. So what is mean by reputation based trust model? This is the reputation based trust model. So in the reputation based model, trust model, jobs are sent to a resource site. So resource site means it will be some of the resources which is available in the grid. So jobs are sent to the resource site only when the site is trustworthy. So when we are sending the jobs to the resource site, when it is, the resource site should be a trustworthy. So the jobs are sent to a resource site when it only when it was trustworthy to meet the user's demands. So why it is trustworthy? So whatever the jobs we are sending to the resource side, that resource side should be trustworthy, because their security conditions will be satisfied by the user. Okay, so they meet to the users demands. So the site users demands. Okay, the site trustworthy is usually calculated from the following information. So we are saying this resource site is a trustworthy. So this can be calculated by the following information. So defense capability, direct reputation, and recommendation trust. So depending on the these three information, so we can say that this site is the trustworthy. Okay, so direct reputation is based on the so the defense capability refers to the defense capability refers to the site's ability to protect itself from danger. So in order to protect from danger itself, in order to protect itself from danger, the defense capability will be used. Defense capability means so in our defense. So in order to save our life, for example, if you have any hackers, so okay, so I mean if you say, for example, if you have in any danger, so if the user is in any danger, so in order to save his life in his defense, so he will be protect himself from that danger. So that is called the defense capability. The defense capability refers to the site's ability to protect itself from the danger. So whenever the user is sharing its data to the cloud, so he should be protect. If he get any danger, if he want to save himself, he should be perform the defense capability. So okay, the defense means in order to save his life or any problem. Okay, self. Okay, so that is called the defense capability, refers to the site's ability to protect itself from danger. So it is accessed according to such factors as intrusion detection, firewall, response capabilities, antivirus capacity, and so on. So this is the defense capability. Next, direct reputation. Direct reputation is based on experience of prior jobs previously submitted to the site. Okay, previously submitted to that site. The reputation is measured by many factors such as prior job execution access rate, cumulative site utilization, job turnaround time, jobs load-down ratio, and so on. So this is called direct reputation. Okay, so next coming to recommended next we having in this we having a positive experience associated with a site will improve its reputation. On the contrary, a negative experience will the site will decreases its reputation. Okay, so this is called the direct reputation. Okay, and recommendation trust. So next coming to FUSI. Next coming to FUSI trust model. FUSI trust model. In this model, the job security demand. In this model, the job security demand SD is supplied by the user programs. So if I have the user programs, we are supplying the job security demand to that. Okay, so in this the trust index TI of a resource site is aggregated through the FUSI logic inference process over all related parameters. The TI the trust index is normalized as a single real number with a 0 representing the condition with the highest risk at the site, and 1 representing the 0 representing the condition with highest risk at the site, and 1 representing the condition which is totally risk free and fully trusted. Okay, if the condition if the condition is provided for the trust index, that condition will be 0 in the trust index, it will be as full risky. Okay, the site will be full highest risk. If the condition will be provided 1 for the trust index, it will be a risk free or fully trusted. Okay, this is the condition which is provided for the trust index. Next, fuzzy inference is accomplished through the fuzzy interference is accomplished through 4 steps. That is fuzzification, interference, aggregation, and diffuzzification. The second silent feature of the trust model is that if the site trust index cannot match the job security demand, the trust model could deduce detailed security features to guide the site security upgrade as a result of turning the fuzzy system. So this is called the fuzzy trust model. So next, coming to authentication and authorization methods. So the major authentication methods in the grid include passwords, PKI, and Kerberos. Okay, Kerberos. The password. What is mean by password? The password is the simplest method to identify the user. Why we are using password? In order to identify the users in order to identify the users identity, but the most vulnerable one to use. So PKI is the most popular method supported by grid security infrastructure. So the PKI is the most popular method that is supported by the GSI. To implement the PKI, we use a trusted third party called the Certificate Authority CA. Each user supplies a unique pair of public and private keys. The public keys are issued by the CA. CA means Certificate Authority. By issuing the certificate after recognizing a legitimate user, the private key is exclusive for each user to use and is unknown to any other users. So this is called PKI. Okay, next coming to PKI. So next we are having the a digital certificate. Why we are using a digital certificate? A digital certificates in IEEE X.509 format consisting of username, user public key, certificate authority name, and a secret signature of the user. So these are the different things available. The following examples users of the PKI service in a grid environment. Okay, so this is the authentication and authorization methods. Okay, so next coming to authorization for access control. So the authorization is a process to exercise access control of shared resource. So authorization is a process to access control of shared resources. So the resource is a host that provides host is a host that provides processors and store for service deployed on it. Okay, so in these decisions can be made either to access a point, either at the access point of service or at the centralized place. Okay, so based on a set predefined policies or rules, the resources may enforce access for local services. So the central authority is a special entity which is capable of issuing and revoking policies to access the rights granted to remote access. The authority can be classified into 3 categories, that is attribute authorities, policy authorities, and density authorities. So this is the diagram we are having for the authorization models. Okay, 3 authorization methods, that is that is authorization, authorization authority, authorization authority and subject. Okay, so what is the three authorizations we are having? The subject is a here subject is the user, and resource refers to the machine side. Subject is the user. Here we are having the subject here, so the subject is called the user, and the resource refers to be a machine side, and the subject push, and subject push here subject push model is shown in the top of this diagram. The user conducts handshake with the user means which one? Subject. The subject will be handshakes with the authority means this authorization. So okay, so the user, the subject is handshakes with the authorization authority first, and then with the resource. First the subject is nothing but user. This user will be first handshake with the authorization authority, and then it will be handshakes with the and then with the resource side. So in the sequence manner. So one is subject will send the request to the authority, again it will be send the request to the subject. So after that communication occurred between these two sides, after it will be sends the request. Third one is this one, sending the request to the resource again sends to the subject. This like first subject will be contact with the put relationship with the authorization, after that he sends to the resource, contact with the resources. So this is the communication occurred here in a sequence manner. The resource is pulling model puts the resource in the middle, So what you are seeing in the second image, see in the we are having three steps here. In the second step, we have what he say he's saying the resource, so whatever the resource available in the edge of this line, so this resource is pulling models put the resource in the middle. Here we are having the resource at the middle side, and the subject is at the last. Okay, so then the resource contacts its authority. Now the resource contacts with the authority. First subject will contact with the resource, and resource contact with the authority, and authority contact with the resource, and resource contact with the subject. So this like, so the resource contact with its authority to verify the request, and authority authorizes at step resources accepts or rejects the request from the subject at the step 4. So next authorization. So what you are doing, the authorization is pulled down at the middle of the diagram. So here what we are doing, the authorization agent model puts the authority in the middle. Okay, middle. The subject checker, the subject will be check with the authority step 1, and authority makes decision to access the requested resources. The authorization process is complete at step 3 and 4. It reserves the direction. So this is the three different authorization models occur in this topic. Okay, next coming to grid security infrastructure. So what is mean by grid security infrastructure? So the grid is the grid is increasing. The grid is increasingly deployed. The grid is increasingly deployed as deployed means more or place, deployed as a common approach to constructing dynamic interdomain. Interdomain is nothing but it is a data flow control and interaction between primary domain controller computer. Okay, and the interdomain distributed computing and data collaborations, since there is a lack of security trust between different services. Okay, so it is still an important challenge of the grid. Grid requires a security infrastructure with following properties, that is easy to use, conforms with virtual. Okay, so virtual organizations, conforms with virtual organization security, needs file working well with site policies, and provide appropriate authentication and encryption of all. So the grid security infrastructure is important step towards satisfying these requirements. So GSI is well-known security solutions in the grid environment. Okay, so the GSI is a global toolkit and provide the fundamental security services needed to support the grids. So okay, so here so in this grid requires a security infrastructure with the following properties. So now only I said easy to use, conforms to the virtualization or virtual organization security needs while working well with site policies of each resources. Provider site provides appropriate authentication and encryption of all interactions. Okay, so in this GSI is an important step towards satisfying these requirements as well-known security solutions in the grid environment. So the Globus toolkit and provides the fundamental security services needed to trust needed to support grids, including supporting for message protection, authentication and delegation and authorization. Okay, so this GSI enables enables a source authentication and communication over an open network and permits mutual authentication across and among distributed sites with a single sign-on capability. No centrally managed security system is required, and the grid maintains the integrity of its members' local policies. GSI supports both message level security, which supports the WS security standard, and the WS secure conversion specification to provide message protection for SOAP message and transport level security, which means authentication via with the support for X.509 proxy certificate. So this is the grid security infrastructure. Okay, so in this grid security we are handling including with high protection, authentication, delegation and authorization in open network. GSI enables to secure authentication and communication, and permits method authentication across any distributed site with a single capability. So GSI supports both message level security, which supports the WS web service security standard, and web service secure conversations. So in this we are having in the GSI we having some functional layers. So what is the functional layers? So GT4 Globus Toolkit 4 provides distinct web service and pre-web service authentication and authorization capabilities. Both build on the same bus, namely X.509 standard, entity certificates, proxy certificates. Okay, so the Globus Toolkit provides to support both the I told now that is only web security and web service and pre-web service authentication and authorization capabilities. Both we having some same build with namely X.509 standard, proxy certificate and entity certificate, which are used to identify persistent entities, such users and servers, to support temporarily delegation of other entities. Okay, other entities. So in this having the diagram. So this is the diagram. Here we having the message level. These are the message level and transport level. So remaining authorization, delegation, authentication, message protection, message format. So these are the different services occurred here. Okay. So what is mean by SOAP? SOAP is simple object access protocol. SOAP is a simple object access protocol. TLS means transport level security. WS means what? Web service. Okay, WS means web service. Next, SAML. SAML is a security assertion makeup language. So GSI may be composed into 4 different functions. GSI may be composed into 4 different functions, that is message protection and authentication, delegation, authorization. So this delegation is nothing but handling the authentication credentials to another user person background check message. Okay, so in this we are having the some explanation about this diagram. So message, what is mean by message protection? So I am having the message protection here. So here in this diagram having the message protection. So what is the use of this? TLS is mean this one. So at the end of the transport level I having the TLS, that is transport level security, and WS security and WS secure conversation. So message level, this is in the message level are used as a mechanism in the combination with the SOAP WX.509. Okay. Next coming to authentication. So authentication means in the third position, authentication. So end entity certificates or username and the password are used for as authentication credentials. Okay, so next after delegation, next delegation. So second one is the delegation. So X.509 proxy certificates and WS web service trust model trust used for delegations. Next authorization. Authorization means X.509 proxy authorization means ACL means what I said, ACL. So this ACL defined by the service. ACL is defined by the service, custom authorization handle and access to an authorization service via SAML, simple assertion makeup language protocol. The remainder of this section reviews both the Globus toolkit implementations of each of these functions and the standards are used in these implementations. The web service portions of GT4 use SOAP, simple object access protocol, as per their message protocol for communication. Message protection can be provided either by transport level security, which transport SOAP message over TLS. TLS means what here? Transport level security, or by the message level security. So which is signing and or encrypting portions of the SOAP messages using the web service security standard. Here we have two methods, that is transport level two methods, that is transport level security, and another is the message level security. What is mean by transport level security? So these are transport level security and entails a simple object access protocol message conveyed over a network connection protected by TLS. TLS means transport level security. TLS provides for both integrity protection and privacy, so via encryption. Okay, so next coming to message level security. So in this GSI also provides a message level security for message protection for SOAP messaged by implementing the WS security standard and the WS system conversation specifications. So this is called message level security. Next WS security. The stands from OASIS defines a framework for applying the security to individual SOAP, applying the security to individual SOAP messages. So the GSI describes further in a subsequent sections, and authentication allows both X.509 public key credentials and the combination of username and password for authentication. So next we are having the GSI have some additional protection mechanisms. So first integrity protection, by which the receiver can verify that message were not alerted in transmit from the sender. The second is encryption, by which message can be protected to provide confidentiality. The third is the third is replay prevention, by which a receiver can verify that it has not received the same message previously. So this is called the additional protection mechanisms. Next, authentication and delegation. So what is mean by authentication? GSI has this GSI has traditionally supported authentication and delegation through the use of X.509 certificates and public keys. As new feature in GT4, GSI also supports authentication through plain usernames and passwords as a deployment option. So this is called the authentication and delegation. So in this we are having some information about these four primary pieces. That is, first one, a subject name, so which identifies, whenever the subject name we will give, we identifies the person or object that the certificate represents. So whatever the certificates we are having, depending on the certificate, we will be identifies the object of the person and a subject name. Okay, the public key belonging to the subject, it identifies of a CA that has signed the certificate to certify that the public key and the identity both belongs to the subject, and the digital signature of the named CA certificate authority X.509 provides each entity with a unique identifier. So that is a distributed name, and a method to assert that identifier to another party through the use of an symmetric key pair bound to the identifier by the certificate. Okay, next coming to trust delegation. So in order to reduce or even avoid the number of times the user must enter his passphrase when several GITs are used to move, have agents, local or remote, requesting the service on behalf of the user. So by using the agents like local or remote, we are requesting services on behalf of user. So the grid security infrastructure provides the delegation capability and the delegation service that provides an interface to allow clients to delegation. And review 5.09 X.509 proxy certificate to a service. GSI provides a delegation capability and a delegation service that provides an interface to allow clients to delegate and review X.509 proxy certificate to a service. A new certificate contains the owner's identity modified slightly to indicate that it is a proxy. The new certificate is signed by the owner rather than a CA, certificate authority. So next coming to cloud infrastructure security. So what is mean by cloud infrastructure security? So you are in our IT architecture may change with the implementation of the private cloud. So your current network, the current network topology will probably not change significantly. So the security considerations you can have today apply to the private cloud infrastructure, and to the security tools you have in place also are also necessary for a private cloud and operated in the same way. So this is called the cloud infrastructure security and network level. So next having the diagram. In this diagram, if you choose to use a public cloud service, changing security requirements will require change to your network topology. You must have address how your existing network topology interacts with your cloud providers network topology. So there are significant risk factors in this case. Ensuring the confidentiality and integrity of your organization's data and transmit to and from your public transmitter, public cloud provider. So we have to access proper control, authentication, authorization, and editing to resource editing to when whatever resource you are using at your public cloud provider. So ensuring the ability of the internet facing resource in public cloud that are being used in your organizations or have been assigned to your organizations by 4 public cloud providers. So replacing the established model of network zones and tiers with domains, data confidentiality and integrity. So some of the resources available in this diagram that previously confined to the private network are now exposed to through use of HTTPS instead of HTTPS instead of HTTPS. So would you have migrated the integrated risk user not having using HTTPS but using HTTP. So did you face an increased risk and their data could have been altered in transmit without being knowledge. Okay, next, ensuring proper access control. Ensuring proper access control. What is mean by ensuring proper access control? Some of the some subject of the resources is now exposed to the internet. An organization using a public cloud faces a significant increases in risk. The significant increases risk to the data, the ability to edit the operations of your cloud providers network, network conduct any real-time monitoring such as on your own network. Even the fact is probably no existent. You have decreased access to relevant network level logs and data, and limited ability to conduct in investigation and rather for forensic data. So the issues of the non-edged IP address and unauthorized network access to resource does not apply to the routable IP address, that is a resource intended to be reachable directly from the internet. So the issues also applies to the cloud providers internal network for customer use and assignment of non-routable IP address. So this is called the ensuring proper access control. Next, in the next class we will discuss about the host level and some more topics regarding this unit 5. So thank you everyone for giving this opportunity, and